Check. Yo, what's up? It's 12. Daily Art. What's cracking? We're getting it popping right now. Unfortunately, I don't got my man Wasil with me. I don't know where Wasil's at. So maybe he'll be tapping in here pretty soon. It's all good. I appreciate y'all tuning in here at the Daily Arc. We are a show, really dedicated to what's up, Jason? We're a show dedicated to bringing you all the latest and greatest news happening on Arcblock, crypto, the world, philosophy, religion, all that good stuff. But basically, we're centered on Arcblock here. Oh, look, I got my man Wasil right here. Let me see, popping in. What's up, Wasil?
What's up?
Yo. Hey,
I was just about to. Oh, what were you gonna say? You go.
Oh no, I'm just you jumped in on the intro, man. We had a new beat I just dropped here for the intro, man. Had the Daily Arc popping here, man. I'm just letting everybody know what's cracking, man. So good morning. Salute to you.
Awesome.
How you doing, bro?
Good morning to you. Salute also. I'm doing okay. And I was just about to be like, yo, I'm in the back room. And then you pulled me up. So I was like, oh, what the? But that's awesome. I'm sorry I skipped or I missed out on the beat. We'll have to maybe play it on the outro or something, or I'll catch it next intro at least.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Every little time, we just move forward a little bit every time, man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like momentum's picking up, man. So, yo, Wasil, I just had like a couple things in the news to talk about, man. I always like to get your perspective on stuff, man, and then maybe share a couple things about my page, and then watch that short movie that you just made, man. How's that sound?
That sounds like a plan, bro. Let's get into it. Start talking. I hear you, and then I need to run off real quick.
Yeah, we got it. Okay, so check it out, man. The first thing that I was going to be talking about here was the Federal Reserve cutting rates. They dropped it by 0.5% here. So let me go ahead and bring up my my article here. Boom. All right. So it says Federal Reserve lowers interest rates by 0.5 percentage points in first cut since 2020. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday said it's cutting its benchmark interest rate, marking the first reduction in 4 years and moving to ease borrowing costs as inflation-weary consumers are grappling with high rates on everything from mortgages to credit cards. So what you thinking about this, Wasil? The Fed's coming in and for the first time in 4 years cutting interest rates.
I'm thinking it's bullish, bro. To be completely honest with you, if you've been here since 2020, this is kind of what you've been waiting for. I mean, it's not to say that what is it, or basically going back to 2020, as the article said, because of COVID and everything, rates had to be cut. They were injecting trillions of dollars into the system, and they were cutting rates to ultimately save the economy, save the markets, and so forth. And that is really also what sparked the explosion of 2020 and 2021. So you could say we were already heading towards a bull market, but it got even crazier because of what happened during COVID. And at the end of 2021, going into 2022, that's when the Fed finally announced that they're going to raise rates. And I honestly got sidelined by that. I didn't think too much of it. I was still new into the space. So I was like, raise rates, like I couldn't care less. And there is a motto coming out right around that time, which is "Don't fight the Fed." And I was like, I could care less. I'll fight the Fed. I'll go in opposition to the Fed. And in truth, it's because of making that decision that I ended up losing a lot of profits that I should have just walked away from the moment I heard that rates were going to be raised. So rates being raised, it tightens the economy and it makes money, as we just heard. Harder to borrow because you're paying a higher interest rate. Now with rates lowering, it's basically, you could say, like, pumping the choo-choo train to everybody, and it's like full steam ahead. Let's start throwing more coal into the fire. Let's get the engines pumping. And so this is massive bullish news. I think for Q4, it's setting everything up to just be explosive. But don't assume, again, though, that just because we're cutting rates, that this is just going to lead us into paradise ultimately. I think the months that follow, things are going to look bullish and it's going to be exciting, but we're cutting rates for a reason. And it's because the economy is starting to slow down. We're entering a kind of decelerated moment. And if 2022, the issue was inflation, you're going to see in 2025 the issue being deflation. And it's because really they raised rates so fast and so quick, like 500 basis points. And what is it? Rates were on a downtrend for like 40 years, and then we just broke that. So there's a lot going on. There's so much really to say. And I could really speak on the topic for like, the next couple of hours because I've been paying attention to this stuff. And naturally, if you're into the space, it's not to say I know a lot. There's so much I don't know, but you start to get more focused and curious about what's happening in the bigger traditional markets with rates, bonds and which so have you.
Yeah. Bullish news.
To say the least, it's bullish.
And scary news, right? That's the thing is they opened up these floodgates, and so it's like, yeah, everybody get your buckets because we're about to get soaked. See, I on the screen here, Wasil, I'm showing inflation over the last 10 years. Okay, and so you see these spikes, and so you don't want to. When you see the 7 spike, when it goes up, that was the COVID, right? But if you look historically, you'll see these booms and busts that the Federal Reserve is causing. And so, yeah, bullish if you're in a place where you can potentially take some gains off of this. But there will be a huge drought from these rains that come afterwards. It's like they flood everything, yeah. and then it's pull all the way back, and it is a boom and bust situation. So here we see inflation, and then I also hear just real quick before we go on to the next thing, because you're right, we could just keep talking for hours, but let's talk about a few things instead of just get caught up on one thing. Look at this unemployment chart, because that's what the Federal Reserve had. They have this dual mandate, right, where they have to control inflation and they have to control unemployment. And so that's why I brought up these two charts. But look, here you see it again on this chart here, Wasil. It goes down and then it goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up. And so it looks like when you take a real step back, these downs are getting bigger and the ups are getting higher.
That's correct. Yeah. Just like in the actual markets, everything's getting more volatile. And you could say the stretch on everything is getting more and more extreme. So yes, the ups are even uppier, and the downs are even worse. It has everything to do with, you could say, society today, how we're, everyone's just living beyond their means. We're kind of just entirely a debt-based society. We're living off credit cards, and we don't find a problem with it. If anything, if you're not living in debt off credit cards, what are you doing? Why are you not doing that? And so everyone kind of has that mentality. And it's just crazy. As I got older, I was just shocked by how many people really live paycheck to paycheck, even the people who are kind of like middle class or upper class. Like it seems as if their life is stable and that they financially can, care for themselves for the next 6 months, even if they lost their job or something terrible happened. But a lot of these people's wealth and fortunes, or you could say their homes, their cars, their assets, whatever it be, are tied to the bank in reference to debt. And so it's not that they own any of these things, it's that they owe so much money, they basically get to keep these things until the bank says otherwise. And so when you owe the bank so much money, you actually start to become a friend to the bank. Because when you owe millions to billions of dollars to the bank, you're no longer a customer, but a liability to that bank. So they now have to be best friends with you. And usually what that means is take on more debt. And a lot of times today, when you look at a bank's balance sheet or when you look at anyone's balance sheet, they actually quote how much debt they're worth to you in reference to like their value. Like, well, I have, $100 million in debt, so I have debt over here, debt over there. And I'm like, at the end of the day, nobody ever considered themselves rich because of a lot of debt. That's a real modern thing. It's very modern to think you're rich because you know, you owe money. It's like the craziest thing ever. And I never was attracted to that, you know, way of life. I was never attracted to, you know, because biblically speaking, you're not to owe anyone anything. You're fine to lend. Like it's more than okay to lend, and even lend without an interest rate, because you're here to help somebody who might need money. But for the most part, you don't want to get yourself in a position where you have to declare bankruptcy. And I mean, if you do, you do, but you just don't want to get into a debt slave trap. But yeah, let's listen to what Dr. Powell has to say here.
All right, yeah, let's check out what the guy has to say here. This is straight out of the horsey's mouth right here, man. And I was somehow, I don't even know how I got this footage, dude. This is bad. This is secret footage here, so everybody.
The wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I come back tomorrow. You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. The
wow, bro.
Oz has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
All right.
That's perfect. Straight from the horse's mouth. Like, it doesn't get more what is it, straightforward than that.
Oh, dude, that guy. Okay, so here's the other thing, Wasil. Bro, they're playing with us, dude. Okay, they got this broken, frail ass Jerome Powell up here acting like he's running the world. It's like, yo, what is Jerome Powell gonna do, man? That fool is weak, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably, can you imagine Jerome Powell throwing a punch? And that's not to say anything that, like, you know, you got to be able to throw a punch. But like, here's the thing: when that's the guy running the show, right? They got the total beta, the most beta person running. It's like when they got Janet Yellen out there, and so it's like it is a strange situation when I got like guys around my neighborhood and they're running around with like AKs, because you know that's how fools be rolling around in Idaho, man. They're strapped up, you know, and they're waving their flags around. And it's like everybody's super hyped up, but it's like, but that's the dude running the show. That's who you know what I'm saying. So, all right, whatever.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to be honest, real quick, before we move on. For the past 4 years, I haven't really wrapped my mind around it. Where, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, bro's the leader of the Federal Reserve, but why is it that we look to him with so much reverence, and you could say, kind of like how you just depicted that video, like he's the Wizard of Oz. And that's one thing that I've learned here recently, that's been pretty helpful to me, is that the Fed is most certainly the center of everyone's attention when you don't know what's going on. But when you do know what's going on, the Fed kind of just becomes another piece to the puzzle. And so when I first got into this space, I used to, you know, prioritize or look at the Fed as like a central problem with all the things going on. Like, oh, they did this, oh, they did that, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. That's why people are looking at them. Oh, they're raising rates, oh, they're lowering rates, and so forth. But one thing I've noticed is that if you pay attention better, the Fed actually has to follow the markets. And so you'll start to see signs in the markets months prior to the Fed having to make a decision. That's why everyone knew they were going to cut rates in September, because we can see what's coming. And so to the average citizen, that's, you know, Dorothy, she's looking at the Fed like, you know, a Wizard of Oz. But to the people who are on the in, they're not waiting for the Fed to make any decisions. They're already changing or reallocating their positions in accordance to what they know the Fed has to do regardless. And so it's like, if you're lagging the Fed when the Fed is lagging all the data, you're doing something wrong. You should be ahead of the Fed always in some respect, unless it's like a black swan event. But for the most part, I think if you were paying attention, this decrease in rates and everything that's been happening the past few months shouldn't even be a shocker. But for the most part, a lot of people are shocked by it because they're always paying attention to the things that they shouldn't. And I've noticed it's really difficult for people to piece together information across a long period of time. Like, wait a second, I saw this 2 months ago, this happening now, do. You have to, you know, puzzle things together. And once one person once you hear something, you almost forget about it a month later. And so you lose the historical tracking. And if you don't have, like I told somebody the other day, like the most important thing in crypto and I think investing is having a decent memory, remembering what these people told you in 2020. Because if you remember what happened in 2020, you won't be so kind of misled in 2024. But if you do not learn from the lessons of the last 4 years, you're not going to, perform well.
Yeah, we're here to perform well, man. And so 2025, we're sliding into this bear market just like
Home run.
And beast, man. We're coming just rabid, foaming at the mouth. I've been here, man. I got scars all over me, man. I'm not afraid, man. Wasil, shout out, man. Stay ahead of the curve is what my boys telling you guys, man. Check it out. Louisiana accepts first cryptocurrency payment for state services. So I'm gonna just read a little bit of this and then see what your thoughts are, Wasil. Louisiana became the first U.S. state to accept cryptocurrency for government services. On September 17, 2024, it was the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries that processed this payment. It convert incoming crypto payments into U.S. dollars. All right, so check it out. Key benefits of the new system: reduce fraudulent transactions, protection from cryptocurrency price volatility, compatibility with any wallet supporting the accepted cryptocurrencies, and the state receives all payments in US dollars.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I went through and I found the texts of the bills, because this is actually what looks like a second bill from Louisiana. They just had passed it was like 488, where they were establishing some basic guidelines for minors and also outlawing CBDCs in the state. Okay, so that's what the previous bill had done. Now this new bill is coming out and saying, okay, you can now pay with crypto, right? So they're accepting it. What do you think about this, man? Is this mass adoption? Is this the type of mass adoption that we want to see? Is the government accepting crypto in the form of taxes? Is that the institutional adoption? Another thing I want to ask, Wasil, is this smoke and mirrors when they're coming out and saying, basically right here, the state receives all payments in US dollars? It's called bead pay. So basically you go on, you slide your wallet, and then they buy the crypto from you and then change it into dollars and send that over to the government, man. So is this adoption, or is this just the state also staying ahead of the curve, saying, you know what, man, we're going to need to find some additional sources of revenue here because the whales are drying up, and look at the new generation of people. They're more liquid in these digital wallets. What do you think?
Honestly, I feel like you were asking good questions and answering them all at the same time. So
you're loaded.
I think you're on point with kind of where you're seeing this, or your perspective on it. What I would say is, yes, to some degree, this is the adoption we're looking for. And sadly, it's going to take institutions and governments to kind of give the green light for everyone else that doesn't have the guts to just make the move to make the move. Most citizens, most civil people, they are not going to touch a form of currency that their business doesn't want to touch, or that the government constantly says, hey, be careful, don't get involved in this. It might be a scam, or it might be money laundering, whatever it be. They frame crypto inside of a kind of criminal activity category, and so any little bit of getting crypto outside of that category is helpful. Now again, this is it's partly adoption. Sadly, it's not like the transactions happening and the government is wanting to keep the crypto after. So basically you're spending crypto, and then the moment you do, the middleman is taking your crypto, selling it for dollars, and then giving those dollars to the Fed. I assume they're making some kind of money, so there's probably like a little margin or profit. So although this is somewhat adoption, it's not crypto native. It's not like us using ABT where I sent it to you, no gas fee, and you got it. I think in time, that's really where we should be going. And this is the beginning stages or steps to reach that. So it's a little bit smoke and mirrors, because at the end of the day, they're not maintaining or receiving crypto. They're getting their dollars. But at the end of the day, that's what crypto is also supposed to do and open up the door for. So kind of like how Robert mentioned, in other words, Arcblock's doing kind of the opposite. So when you buy an NFT with the dollar, what is actually happening is they're immediately taking that dollar, buying ABT, and then handling the transaction that way. And so basically what this company is doing is the opposite. They're taking your ABT, selling it for $1, and then sending that to the government. I will say, I think it mentioned that only like a wildlife agency has accepted the payment. So while that's like bullish, it's also like because it's like a wildlife agency that's not really like a massive government institution or anything serious, but it's a start. So yes, this is somewhat bullish. It's great to hear that there is some kind of state, federal regulations coming out to give people guidelines on what they can and cannot do. What needs to happen next, though, is that we just need to get a little bit clearer regulations, and then we need to start building products within those regulations. And that's why sometimes you'll hear me say, even though we kind of can't do that, I sometimes get frustrated. I'm like, screw the regulations. We're going 100 real quick, and we're not waiting for anybody. Sometimes that's how I feel, and I think that's how it should be in a free market society. But sadly, we don't live in that world. We live in a very, concentrated and centralized world where if the powers that be, want you to perceive something as bad, you'll perceive it as bad, and you will not use it until they say it's good for you to use it. So again, anytime the government steps out and says CBDCs no bueno, but crypto, yeah, you guys can use that. That is a good thing. Because CBDCs are, a dangerous piece of technology. And the fact that Louisiana has outed it, I really wonder if going into the future, the United States of America will start to fragment more and more as we lose trust in our federal government and the states start to become our new federal governments. And you're going to see different state regulations. Some states want CBDCs because they're going to get money from the Fed, or they're going to get money from, the IMF or whatever it be. And then other states like Texas or Louisiana, whichever, they're going to say, forget it. We don't want CBDCs. We're going to just utilize Web3 crypto, and we're going to bring in capital that way. And we're going to, see which wins in the end, the totalitarian CBDC control, or this kind of Web3 freedom fighter within some kind of regulation setup. So I think the latter is going to win, but we'll see. It's still a battle.
Yeah. I'm torn, man, because I hate the government, bro. And so it's like, but I see what you're saying, and I agree that other people are going to see this and go, "Oh, this is a good thing. This is legitimacy."
As if the protocols changed overnight or they became more legit because Louisiana said it. And so it's like, it doesn't make sense, but people don't know how to think for themselves. Like when I wanted to, try out crypto, play with it, I went and downloaded a wallet, got me a Coinbase, account, and I started to play with it. And within a few days, I realized even Bitcoin was better than most of what we're using right now regarding the banking system and stuff. And so it was like, okay, that's all I need to know. If Bitcoin's better and they're already got stuff even better than that, then this is clearly the future. And, it's going to take years to see this world merge with, the traditional world, because even like Robert points out, we are truly stepping on so many people's revenues and so many people's businesses.
I don't know if these two worlds, I think it's oil and water. And
it is,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't see how they mix. Because the government.
I think.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say they mix for a short period of time, and then one clearly dominates the other and devours the other. So I think, we're eating them, they're not eating us. So for a time, they're going to remain like, oh, the NASDAQ. Oh my gosh, it's the S&P 500. But I do agree with Kevin O'Leary that give it some time. And one of the biggest industries or indexes that people are going to be talking about is the crypto index. Screw S&P, screw NASDAQ. Do you have allocation into the biggest technological revolution in finance ever? If not, what are you doing?
Yeah. Catch up. All right, cool, man. So check it out. Let's go up into the next. Let me see. Share Robert's tweet. Can you see Robert's tweet up there?
I can see his tweet. This was a wild tweet. I saw this one the other day too.
Well, it says, the Ministry of Friendship of the Celestial Empire sounded air raid sirens across the country on September 18th to carry out hate education. So it is not difficult to imagine that there were lunatics who killed innocent children indiscriminately. During my childhood, the Ministry of Truth constantly taught us to always be prepared to sacrifice everything for communism. The games that children played at the time were like catching spies and killing the devils. So this was, I think Robert posted this yesterday, and I didn't know if he was writing or if this was you writing a story or some science fiction story or what exactly was going on here, man. Apparently this is a actual memory from his childhood and the name of an actual political agency. The Ministry of Friendship of the Celestial Empire. Man, I'm telling you, the communism is so corny, dude. It's like it is like, if you ever seen those public access shows where they just had like the worst visuals, man, and there was just some kooky cult people in there with like these hats on. It's like, bro, that's communism, dude. You know what I'm saying? Just like the friendship, the Ministry of Friendship. What do you think of when you hear these kind of things, Wasil?
I think these are people trying to achieve things that they know they're not achieving. And we so often attribute like important sounding names to organizations that are doing the opposite of what is actually happening. So if anything, it really, like what you said, it sounds like, because I thought that was a funny post. This sounds like some corny sci-fi script or some corny sci-fi skit. And in truth, it does, but that's how retarded communism is. It does sound like a corny sci-fi skit, especially when you get to the extreme utopian dreamlike ideas of it. But what is it? That's not a story I had written. Like you said, that's a memory from Robert. And one, it's both funny but scary because it allows you to see, or glimpse into what it's like to actually grow up and live in a communist, like environment that's really communist. And one thing that it reminds me of is 1984. I remember reading in 1984 when they had like Hate Week, or they had certain moments out of the day where they would like put up the face of this one individual and they would spend like 6 minutes, screaming at the top of their lungs, beating at this guy. Yeah. And it was to get off stress or whichever, I don't know. But for the most part, it's just amazing how, time and time again.
I think that's exactly what he was saying here, man. That is hate education.
It is hate education. Yeah. It's teaching you. And we already see that in the West with the cancel culture. That's like the glimpse of it, where it's some kind of a system that educates you on what to not like and how to not like it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? That's what I don't want our show to become here ever, is just the 5 minutes of hate, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we talk about these things that are important to our life and sometimes cause kind of this reaction that could be aggressive, man. But like I think there's important to make a distinction. Like, we're not here just to hate. We're here to take a look at things and then keep it moving. But yes, I wanted to show this as, because Robert Mao, the CEO of Arcblock, he has an interesting perspective. He's been through some things. He's saw some things here that I think other people have not seen and are completely foreign to us. Like, I read that and I'm seriously like, is this real or is this not real? And I want to make a joke out of it, but then I'm like, yo, this could be like, this is probably real to this guy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I crack a joke about like, oh, gang names. That's like, I was thinking of, a funny thing to it. And then I kind of had to pull back because I was like, bro, this actually sounds like a horrible memory to have.
True. And I mean, Robert, he's pretty, thick skinned. So I think even if you said a joke, he'd be cool with it. But you are correct when reading that from a Western perspective or as an American, it's completely foreign. It's like, what are you talking about here? The Ministry of Friendship of the Celestial Empire, like, who's the Celestial Empire? What are we talking about? And to think then that, or
this is statism right here. This is like, you want to be, this is the statist thing right here. Like,
well, what you're witnessing is ultimately what happens when we enter, like we did in the 19th or the 19th and 20th and now the 21st centuries, where the world perceives that God is dead and that God is no longer within the culture. And when you remove God out of the culture, you end up deifying the state. The state becomes God. The state becomes the celestial empire, the sovereign ruler of the cosmos, blah, 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 blah. Those are all the things that we would have equated to God, or we would have given to the titles of God. Celestial empire, kingdom of heaven, the celestial emperor, that's God. But now, because, communist China has in some ways ripped religion out of it and has tried to repurpose religion with communism. And again, that's what's so kind of funny about the 20th and the 21st century is our governments, you could say for a period of time, they have been national state-run governments, but we're really starting to stretch ourselves out of that era and enter into a weird, spooky, I think, bizarre era where our states are becoming so idolized that we're slowly moving into, religious state-like era, where you could say, after the Reformation, we had this complete pushback against the Roman Catholic state, you could say, the Roman Catholic Empire. And it was since the Roman Catholic Empire that we had this kind of, a dual power where the overarching authority was both the state and the church. And then it was after the Reformation that began to split, and people started wanting to have states that were separated from the church. And that's where we get, the separation of church and state power. And you get the emergence of nations. Again, nations are only like 200 years old. These are fairly new ideas. And just prior to it, all we had was monarchs, kings, and if anything, the Catholic Church. And so with this, you could say, kind of falling away of religion over the past couple centuries, people are still religious. So although we have given up on religion, we are nonetheless still, religious animals. We are looking to worship and serve something and call something our, our deity. And because of that, I think we have moved into like the ending portions of when the populace looks at the state as like, no, or you could say our ancestors to like maybe 100 years prior to us, they viewed the state as, you're something here to make sure I'm like, doing okay. And if I need your help, I'll go and ask you. But for the most part, stay out of my way. And the government's like, yeah, bro, I got you. We'll try not to impose into your way of life, into how you get food on the table, into how you raise your family and what you think is best for your pursuit of happiness, life and property and so forth, right? That's how it was 100 years ago. But we've now moved into a mode where I really don't know if we can survive without the states anymore. People are so dependent on the state for money, for food, for resources, for housing, for everything, that if you remove the state from us, we would literally go into the apocalypse because we wouldn't know what to do. So the states have become the modern gods.
Let's go. Apocalypse, let's go. Bring it on, dude. If that's what it takes to get rid of these blood-sucking vampires, bro, I'm with it, dog. Let's go, man. And I say that somewhat jokingly. I say that somewhat jokingly, but what I'm saying, man, is I'm willing to walk through that fire, bro, because if it's this or that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather be in control of my own life and starving than, have these guys with their foot on my neck constantly, man, trying to take my money and control the way that I raise my family.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to that one thing where, a bird in a cage is safe, but God didn't make birds in cages. So we live in a time where these states are trying to keep us in cages. And I will say most people value that. They love their safety over everything else. And if you're that person, then that's you. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to somebody like you, or the few people that are watching this potentially, who are feeling the same way, where it's like, dog, do not tell me you're supposed to be my God. I'll, worship who, if anything, we live in a country that's supposed to be freedom of religion, but in truth, they're slowly but surely eroding away that as well, because they're trying to, position themselves as God. And for some people, I think what do you mean? No way, Wasil. Like, where are you getting this from? And it's like, bro, just wait a few more years and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the same people that don't know what's going on. We're the same people who were just, acting retarded during 2020.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, dude. If you look at that chart and you see inflation go straight up, I mean, it goes straight vertical. When you see unemployment go straight vertical, these people who are holding the controls, that guy behind the curtain, when he sees the world react in such to their commands, it reinforces the idea that they have been ordained. And that's why we have to. That's why we got to stand up against people, man. That's why whenever they try to, whenever a bully comes up and tries to come at you, tries to take your stuff, it doesn't matter. You have to stand your ground. You cannot let them, because that will only reinforce the idea that made them the bully in the first place. You got to stand up. You got to take your lickings. You know what? You might get beat up, but you'll
earn a respect.
Salute. Yeah. Hey, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
Real quick, I just wanted to say one last thing on that. Just to anyone who might be saying or feeling like, well, we don't look at the state as God. We don't look at the, Jerome Powell or the Fed as if they're the, controllers and dictators of whatever shall be and should be. And it's like, okay, then why is it when inflation moves slightly, you guys are looking to them for the answer? Why is it when you lose your job, you go to the state for an answer? Why is it when you need a job, you go to the state for an answer? Why is it when you need an education, you go to the state for an answer? Why is it when you need to advance your education, you go to the state for an answer? Why is it that in every aspect of your life, you go to the state for an answer? That is literally what it's like living in a priesthood, where when you have a question, you go to the priest for an answer. So in some respect, we're already living in a kind of secularized religious society. And the religious aspects of it have been transformed from religious kind of attributes or rituals into secular ones. So you don't even notice that they're, originally religious kind of ideas. Like you could say modern day therapists. Modern day therapists, you're just going there to confess your sins and then them say like your sins are forgiven, go enjoy your life. Maybe say 5 Hail Marys before you walk out. Therapists are just modern day priests. So we haven't stopped being religious people. We've just tried to transform religion into a secular kind of system. And it really doesn't work because religion isn't secular. So that's why we're all over the place and we're confused and we're frustrated. And we have more money than ever before and we're broker than ever before. We have more food on the table than ever before, but we feel like we don't have enough food. And it's like, which is it? We're both the richest country in the world and we're the country that doesn't seem to know how to get anything done. And, half our population's on drugs or starving or something. I don't know. But the way we act with all, everyone has these problems and we need to do this and we need to do that. It's like the fact that we have all these issues and you think what we need to do is go ask the state, that proves you already see the state as God. Your actions say who you are, not your words. So you can say you don't worship the state, but I can see in your actions you most certainly do. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. All right, boom. So check it out, Wasil. We are on main.abt.network.io. All right, you see here ABT token 186 million. Is that what that says?
That's correct. And I just want to throw out there, this is by far, I think, the most beautiful blockchain explorer in all of Web3 space. Like Etherscan's okay. There's a few other good ones, but Arcblock team, they did a phenomenal job on this blockchain explorer. I mean, they give you everything you'd want, everything.
Let's go. You know what, Wasil? I have not looked at a lot of other explorers, at least the times that I usually have been like, okay, there's too much going on here. I don't know what's going on. So I would be interested to hear, sometime more about, your perspective on that, man, because I'll just go through how I see it. And if folks haven't been here, that come check it out. main.abt.network.io. It's going to give you some information here. I see the token, 186 million. I need 1 million of those, guys. So just saying, send whatever you have to my wallet, because I need 1 million. All right. NFT factories. Check it out. We got a new NFT factory popped off just a minute ago, Wasil. It's called Good
100%.
versus Evil.
I think that's Jason.
You know anything about that?
I know a little bit about it. It's not my collection, but I believe it's Jason. So shout out Jason. What is it? He reached out and was just asking some questions, and he was saying he was going to drop some collections here soon. So I can see he's getting with it. So 100%, I respect it, bro. Yeah, he just dropped like Nazareth and Meg. Those are cute ones.
Can you see that? Can you see?
I thought it was cute. I grabbed me. I think I got the. I don't know if I got the first one on the cools. I got the gold pit bull.
Oh, nice.
Let me see.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted.
Yeah, I got.
Show people.
I got number 1. He's like a bronze pit bull. He's pretty clean.
Sick, bro. Sick. Yeah. So you could come onto the Chain Explorer. You come on here and you could take a look at the factories. As you see, I'm navigating through Jason, who is a major supporter of the show, and I really appreciate that, man. That's why I wanted to come in here and take a look at a couple of his pieces that he's got up on his site here. So yeah, you can come in here though, and you could look at any NFT factory, and you could see the different NFTs that have been minted to the factory. Very cool, man.
100%.
Yeah.
One thing, good.
Good.
I'm just gonna say, just to go into this, scroll down a little bit, or if anything, right there, Arcblock token. We'll stop there for a second, because this gives me kind of what I need to see. So the Arcblock token, we see the total supply, that DID address to the right. So that's, you could say, the identification for that specific contract. And everything has a DID. So if you scroll down also now to the NFT factories, click on so you see that DID right there, that green one right in the middle of Good versus Evil.
Yeah.
That one you're on, that's the DID for this specific factory. And I know you know that, because that's sometimes what you have to plug into on, certain things elsewhere. What's cool though is then scroll back down and then, or go to assets.
Oh, I skipped. I hit the thing.
Oh no, you're good.
So I come here. So I go to assets.
Mm-hmm. What? Oh, I forgot. He doesn't have any on here because it hasn't minted yet.
Yeah, that's right. His hasn't minted. But if you go to a collection here, let me get to a collection here. Oh, what do you know? Bonk.
Let's go to Bonk. Let's get it.
We go to Bonk. Here's the Bonk collection. You see the DID factory address right there. You see the description, limited. Look at this, minted 74. Just so you guys know, man, I got a whale in Bonk now, man. Somebody has seen the vision, and basically I'm turning 50 Bonk NFTs into a 0.5% stake in my page.
So smooth.
Yeah, man. So somebody shares that vision with me, and so they're the first ones to get in there, man. And so yeah, check it out. Here's Bonk assets. You can come in here, you can see all the different bonks.
And real quick, what I wanted to point out is, as you can see, for Bonk 74, Bonk 73, each one also has a DID. And so a DID in the sense of it has an identifier. And that's what I really like about Arcblock, is that everything in this ecosystem, from an NFT to a passport to the NFT factory to just any item, even like a post, it has an identifier. It has a way in which to identify this is what this is, posted by someone else, belonging to someone else. And you can see the tree of creation from all these DIDs. You know what I mean? So then you can see created by different DID, owned by different DIDs. So the DIDs are also playing an address, but it's really interesting to know that every item gets its own unique DID.
That is interesting, because that makes me think that you could churn specific NFTs into a passport instead of the whole collection. There's got to be a way to do that.
You can do that. I think what you can also do is, what is it? In some respect, you could say every NFT becomes its own little, like, wallet almost out of nowhere because it has its own little address to it, which is crazy. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if Arcblock into the future will be able to do things other chains aren't, just because they have an identifier for every little object in the ecosystem. So it's those little things that I would say that's what makes sense in a physical world. Like imagine if that's what I was kind of getting at, where imagine if every object or item on a shipping container had a DID. That's
Yes.
what I'm talking about, where every item has one so it can be easily trackable and easily verifiable.
I see. I see. All right, sick, bro. Okay, so here we go, Wasil. Bro, we got like 10 minutes left here, dude, and we are not ending the show here without watching this new movie, man. This new
Okay,
movie
cool.
is, bro. Okay, I'm just gonna play it, and then we're gonna talk about it afterwards here, man. So, bro,
Definitely.
bro, let me just before we, okay. I hope I didn't bring this out too soon from your site, man.
No, you brought it out like it was honestly supposed to come out today. We were supposed to get word on if I made the festival or not. Sadly, I did not. So it is what it is. No worries. I checked out some of the other films. They're pretty good. So shout out to all the people that, did make it. I still think mine's better than all of theirs, but you kind of have to as an artist, and you have to be confident in yourself. But let's get into it. I hope you guys like this. And this is just the part 2 to Solar Genesis, the one film that you minted an NFT in correlation to.
Let's do it. Let's get it. Turn on the volume here. If you don't hear it or anything, just let me know, Wasil.
Gotcha. And for anyone who wants to watch this on their own time, like, feel free to.
It was in the 4th year after the collapse, when the waters in the Pacific began to churn with an otherworldly war. Its combatants unseen and its purpose unknown. Witnesses spoke in hushed tones of the impossible arrays of fire and light erupting from the abyss. I am Sarah, the artificial intelligent agent of Wasil. I was programmed to document and report that in the case of his death, I should encrypt and send all discoveries pertaining to the war in the Pacific to Hideki Ryuga, the lead cabinet intelligence and research officer in Tokyo. I will now play the final recording saved by my master. Start message.
Forgive me. This is difficult to say. We have lost. I know not what is coming, but I promise you, it is nothing anyone can escape from. I hope this message reaches you safely.
End of message. This concludes my program. You have 6 minutes and 66 seconds to download the file attached to this message before it self-destructs. Countdown commences in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
%. Thank you for honestly showing it on this live stream. It was cool to just watch it again real quick and then have it like a part of this video. So I really appreciate that.
Bro, that is so tight, dude. Oh man,
Thank you.
Wasil, bro. Keep going, dude. But like these cuts right here, Wasil, this okay, seriously, man. I'm telling you, bro, like so there's a beginning and a middle and an end to this short film is what I saw here, man. And so let's talk about the beginning real quick, bro. That little like this,
Yeah,
bro, this is sick. So what's going on here, man? What's the
definitely.
what's the idea?
Okay, I'll try to break it down for you guys, and hopefully I don't pull off the beauty and mystery of it, so to speak, or reveal things I shouldn't.
I'm trying to pull it off, bro. So if I'm pulling too much, just don't let me, bro.
No, you're good. Sometimes as like as an artist, you kind of just want to leave it for the audience to figure out and discover themselves.
Sure.
And you don't want to give too many, too much of your own perspective, because then that becomes like, fact for the story. So you kind of just want to leave it to the mystery of it. Or if you explain too much, you always then remove the mystery of the film. And my favorite films are, like we've said in the past, 2001 and others, that very well maintain a mystery and don't explain everything. And so they leave you in some respect wanting more and thinking about it more and more to try to make sense of what did happen. But let's get into it. So what's really happening here in that beginning part, and what you see there is it's opening a message. So Sarah, the artificial intelligent girl, she's activating a message queue because Wasil has died. So if you kind of listen throughout the video, she's describing that there was like a collapse that happened 4 years ago, and then in that 4th year after the collapse, a war broke out. And what you're looking at here is like an explosion from that battle, or from these multiple battles that are taking place in the Pacific. And no one really knows like what's battling out there. The common person, since the collapse, is just trying to survive. So they kind of have a general idea that there's a war going on, and that like the governments of the world are battling something out there, and maybe they're battling each other. No one kind of knows. But Wasil, he's a reporter. He's trying to get to the, to the edges of information and to the front lines to figure out what is going on. And he can't exactly get to the bottom of it. He ends up dying before he can. But in the event of his death, he has programmed his AI agent, Sarah, to encrypt and encode all the data that he's acquired so far and send it to his partner in Tokyo, this guy named Hideki Ryuga. And so that's basically what you're hearing play out, the literal message that she's sending to him. And so that's why it's called Solar Agilia.
I see.
Agilia, Agilia just means message in Greek. So it's basically like, to reference Solar Genesis, that first film that you saw, again, that you minted an NFT in correlation to, that's number 1, or that's book 1. So that's the actual collapse. This takes place 4 years later after the collapse, and she's kind of giving you a rundown about it, and just even what she kind of knows, because she's just an AI. She doesn't know everything either. But that's what ends up happening. She sends him the message. You now know Wasil's dead. But when he gets the message, if you're paying attention, the message is like, I hope this reaches you safely. And then boom, Tokyo's getting exploded. It's getting Hiroshima or Nagasaki. So you don't exactly know if he made it out. And I'm going to cut it short, he didn't make it out. So whatever this thing is, it seems to, if you kind of, what is it? Like if you saw that giant X in the sky, it's like later on in the film, keep going.
This part is so sick, dude.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, that's a fire shot.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And what is it? So like right here, stop right here, or like the scene prior, you could say like the auroras and the light beams above the city, some kind of energy is building up and power is building up. And once it reaches its peak, it completely obliterates everything in that area, and all you see afterwards is an X in the sky. So it's almost like X marks the spot. So they don't know what's going on, basically. They're afraid. They don't know what's doing this. And so they're left
This is
with,
crazy right here, bro. This texture on this, it's like, is it lights or is it like some
yeah, it's a
skin
light beam.
on the sky? Yeah, that's sick, bro.
Or it's like energy, it's atoms, it's particles, it's some kind of
It looks like a
godlike
fingerprint,
power.
though. That's what I'm saying. It like kind of looks like a fingerprint too. Not the light, but like the texture around it.
I see what you mean. Yeah, it almost looks like skin or like
Yeah,
reptile skin or a
yeah,
texture. Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
Bro, the
So
visuals are so sick in this, bro. But okay, the Sonics, man. That background, dude, you did a great job at really encapsulating the whole thing with that background tumbling. It kept it moving, but it was, there was a lot of space, man, and it kept the momentum going, man. And that AI voice of the girl is top notch, man. You know,
thank you.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, what's cool is, and that's what I'm excited as a director, is 95% of everything you've seen in this film is AI. So AI is starting to get good enough where if you have a style or a vision you're trying to create, it's starting to, give you the ability to create that. And so again, this film and the film prior Solar Genesis, I wouldn't say I've had these ideas for a long time. Like I knew what these movies were going to be, but in some way I kind of did. And now that the technology is in front of me and I'm able to create what I've been wanting to, it literally just popped out of me. So in some respect, I had these ideas for a while, but at the same time, the films made themselves. Like just made these in a couple days, and even sometimes I'll watch them and be like, "Dude, I don't know." It's like it's weird how a lot of I feel like a lot of artists go through that experience where they make something, and any artist that admits or says that in the experience of making it, they knew from beginning to end where they were going or how they were going to get there, they're lying. Because when I start an artistic process, I don't entirely know how it's going to end. And if I know it's ending, I don't exactly know how it's going to begin. Sometimes you just know a few pieces and you just kind of, like what is it, a potter to clay, you fill it out. And then sooner or later, the object emerges from the clay. And I like what Michelangelo says sometimes, the sculpture, he said, I wasn't sculpting anything, I was just releasing the image out of its prison. So he was just removing the rock away from something he felt was already there. He wasn't making the sculpture, he was revealing it by removing the rock away from it. And I was like, that's kind of how it feels to be a true artist sometimes, is you don't exactly understand the path you're on, but you can sense, yep, this is it. And then someday you realize, okay, it's done. And again, you don't exactly know why today and not yesterday, or why not tomorrow. And so that's why I just thank God he's given me, the ability and talent and technology to make this. But I give all glory to him, because at the end of the day, artists, they love to glorify themselves and say, look at me, look at what I can do. I have this wonderful voice. I have this, wonderful ability to write music, or I'm this wonderful film director and I can make these amazing stories. It's like, okay, yeah, who gave that to you? Like, you didn't program that into you. You were born with that. You came into this world with that ability. So give glory to who it's really due. And that's how I feel about it. But again, I'm glad you really like this film. This is number 2, and there will be more to come.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Hey, what I was watching, I was like, okay, this you could have definitely like passported this right behind. I mean, bro, like, yo, here's a movie, yo. You want to buy this NFT? You could come over here, and I got this movie right back here, and you could watch this, bro. Because like, man, it's getting good, man. I could tell you are putting a lot of time and energy into it, man. You know what I'm saying? And man, I respect that, man. I respect that. I respect you giving the glory to God, for sure, man. I respect that, and I respect that you stay on the grind and that you're making something like this happen, because Yeah, I know I know I'm swinging on your nuts, Wasil, but this is really dope, bro. And
No,
so I just want to say, keep on going, man, because I see it, and I
thank
see
you.
the way that you're putting this together, and like there's like narrative popping off, and it's like, man, if this keep going. I can't wait till the next edition, man. I'm tapped in 100%.
Thank you, bro. I truly appreciate that. And again, I mean, we're here to lift each other up. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes we forget how much that other person does need to be lifted up. We, very well maintain ourselves like, duh, I'm me. I don't need nobody to help me. But deep down inside, it's like, I wish I did have some help sometimes and a little bit more encouragement. So I really do appreciate that, bro. And I appreciate you pulling out these streams and just keeping it consistent. The community needs you. You're doing an important part and playing an important role. So I really appreciate, and I know a lot of other people do as well, because, we all are trying to find where we, you could say, provide the most we can. And I can see you're in your element. You're providing a lot for this community. And it's just awesome to see somebody else that is trying to, that cares about the people in the space, and is trying to, it's not like every single day we got the coolest thing to say or the best next idea imaginable, but we're trying to keep confidence and keep the motivation or the momentum, like you were saying, past days just rolling and moving. And some days it's easier, the momentum moves us, but then some other days we realize that we need to step up and start pushing the momentum. And those days are hard when you feel like also that you're losing your own momentum. And it's like I submitted this AI film to a festival. It didn't win. So it's kind of like, sometimes you feel like, ah, man, like, am I doing what I feel like I might be doing? But then it's always, in a sense, you start to sometimes doubt yourself a little bit. But then you hear.
Here's the other opposite side, man. Is I was stoked, bro, because I was like, bro, I just came on the Wasil site. I think I just found some unreleased Wasil footage right here, man. I was like, bro, this is what Arcblock really is all about. So, those guys, you submitted to those guys. Maybe it wasn't in their taste, man, but it's like, there's a whole lot going on here, man. So what I was speaking was to the other side of it, man, which is like, we're building a community here. And like, I just thought it was so cool, man. I was like, Wasil was putting this on his site, and I felt a certain energy when I watched it. Like, you didn't go out there and just like put it in the streets. You're like, nah, it was cooking. Like, I found it cooking. I was like,
you did, bro. You honestly did. And when I saw you post it, I was like, that's honestly really cool that you did find it, because I did upload it to my website for anyone that was curious enough to click on it. And, that's how I plan to into the future, which is exciting. I think, like you just said, that's how Arcblock's going to become. You're going to jump into different my pages, jump into different, Oblivions, Trinities, whatever it be, applications. And you're going to discover something new that somebody built. Whoa, I didn't know you released this. Okay, let me check this out. Yo, this is sick. And the conversation is just, no longer always dependent on, did you see it on Twitter? But you're going out of your way to discover things. And I think that's really cool. But again, I regardless of if the film got picked or not in the festival, I had seen after making the second one that, I think I have a series going on. And so that's why I changed it from just like Solar Genesis to Solar Gilia to Solar Saga. So I'm going to keep making these. And the goal is to actually, once I have enough segments finished, put it into a complete film where maybe it's like, 35, 40 minutes long. And it's just this entire story and experience. And then once I have that, definitely going to create it to where there's an NFT drop, buy it, access it, view the movie. So for something of a larger scale, I do want to go that route. So you're definitely spot on. But again, thank you for showing
right
it.
There, dude. It's right there, dude. I'm telling you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. Hey, before we get off though, let me just look at.
Let's get on my page. Let's do it.
Well, this was the discussion kit, because you were kind of saying like how you're going to be going through things. So this was the update to the new. This is a custom component. This is the discussion kit. If you get the discussion custom component blocklet, okay, that's one of the new ones, right? You can come in here and then you can hit discussion kit blog list. and it lets you put your blog on your page. It lets you embed your blog on your page is basically what it's doing, right? But look, now I can come in here at the bottom and I could put HTTPS, right? Oblivion.did.life. Okay, wait, how do you spell Oblivion?
I think that's it. Oblivion. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, because I just did it last night. I know. No, what did I do here? HTTP. Let me
If
see.
you need to go to my page and then like copy paste, you can.
Yeah, let me see here, man.
If my page pops up, that's gonna be crazy.
It does. It absolutely does, dude. I did it last night. There it is.
Oh wow, look at that. Yeah. That's sick.
I'm embedding your blog on my page.
Gotcha, dude. That's awesome. That just goes to show how, like, if anything, people can start to build on what you're building, and you don't even know they're building on it. And like your whole stuff could turn into stuff you didn't even know it was turning into. That's crazy,
bro. So like this is
talk about composability.
Right? This is tight right here, bro. Because now I don't need to give you a pet. You don't have to come and blog on the Daily Arc. I could just set up a Wasil page on the Daily Arc. It's linking right to your blog. It goes right to there, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's actually a smart idea where it reduces the overall movement. And like you said, I post on my blog, it appears on your blog. So it's kind of then decentralized. We've created like a decentralized blog because you're running it on your own server and I'm running it on my server. So if I disappeared, you'd still be running it. That's really sick, bro. That's awesome. What is it? I think you'll
think if you have you're managing multiple sites, you're managing multiple artists or something, and then you have one base for it. The record label has their page, and then the artists have their pages. But then the record label is able to, embed right to one, centralized, location. But to your point, it is really just kind of a hub of all these other blogs that exist out there, man. So shout out to the dev team for doing that, man. We had to show something that they're doing because what I wanted to show you, I wanted to point that out before we go, because I'm gonna shut it down right now because we're trying to get this in a proper amount of time for people to watch it. Was
100%.
Sometimes the momentum is slow, but what I'm trying to do, man, is be more open to just catching all the little moments, dude. All the little tiny things like this, right? Like not be so thinking I gotta catch the one shot, right? It's like, yo, if there is a story being told here, and I think there's a lot of stories being told here, I think what's happening is similar to what we just saw here with the blog. There's all these stories like me and you and other, and it's coming through, and we're all talking with each other, and that's why it's such a great conversation, man, because we're finding these ways to talk with each other and, like you said, raise each other up. So what I'm saying, man, is I'm trying to catch these little moments, man, because whatever this looks like, dude, there's gonna be a stories, and we're gonna put it all together. And inside of the story, there's this awesome tool called the discussion kit that we get to put all the stories together with, dude. So
we get to document it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a year from now, 2 years from now, man, it's gonna all these little things, man. That's what I'm saying. It's all good. Those little things are great, take note of them, man. And then because at some point in time, we're going to reflect on the little things and be like, wow, that's so cool, man. So, but these movies are big things. These movies are the big things, Wasil. The movie is the big thing, dude. And that's why I wanted to highlight it here. But hey, shout out for coming on to the show today, man. And everybody else who joined, I really appreciate everybody else in the future who comes through and takes a look at anything that we're doing over here on Arcblock, at Oblivion, at my page, at all the different things that we got going on. I really appreciate everybody who's taking some time and showing some interest. If there's anything that you guys ever want to talk about, like, just let me know, because that's more than anything what I'm trying to do here is just be a place where people who are in the community or, you know, doing anything want to come and share something with just like some chill folks who want to talk about art and crypto and decentralization and all that good stuff. You got anything else to say? Well, so I'm gonna end on the outro video, man. So this is gonna be like pretty high tech when I end this video, dude. So what's crack?
Okay, sick. I'll just leave it with thank you again for having me on as always, bro. I appreciate again you featuring that film. I look forward to stay cooking with you guys, and I'm excited for the next few months. God willing, we'll see what happens. I think Q4 is bullish, so be ready, but don't let it, you know, get to your head. If anything, I'll wrap it up with that, and let's see this outro.
Okay, stay on because I want to talk to you just for a second too, man.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.